There's been so many of these conferences that have happened. Alongside the personal grief that all my family are feeling. Really have to face catastrophes and chaos before real action needs to be...
It's official. King Charles has turned his back on Harry and Meghan. Piers Morgan claims all royal contact is over. Is this the end of the royal family's biggest feud? Under the heavy clouds hanging over Buckingham Palace, a chill sweeps through royal circles. Piers Morgan steps forward with a revelation that sends shockwaves across Britain and beyond. King Charles has completely cut off all communication with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. No calls, no texts, no quiet reconciliation through royal aids. The bridge between father and son is gone, and the doors to the palace are now firmly shut. This isn't idle gossip whispered by the tabloids. It's coming from someone deeply connected inside royal society, a man who has long shared dinners and secrets with the very people he's now talking about.
I haven't been to all of them, but I went to Copenhagen.
When Piers Morgan speaks, palace walls tend to listen and react. So the question that echoes louder than the Big Ben chime is simple. What happened behind those ancient stone walls to drive a father to permanent silence? What could possibly make a king cut ties with his own family? During a televised conversation with broadcaster Megyn Kelly, Piers lays it out. According to the Royal Insider, every senior member of the royal family has stepped back from the Sussexes. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, once Harry's closest allies, are no longer in touch. The private invitations, family calls, and friendly messages have all stopped. Even Charles himself, a man known for patience and diplomacy, has decided that silence is the only way forward. Piers, who remains close to Queen Camilla, calls Harry and Meghan pariahs within the royal circle. He claims Meghan's behavior during her time in the UK left palace staff emotionally exhausted and seeking therapy. The staff stories never made public headlines because of non-disclosure agreements, but behind closed doors, they're remembered vividly. Piers paints a picture of tension and manipulation that contrasts sharply with the public image of compassion.
It was a profound personal commitment
and kindness the couple often projects. Inside Buckingham Palace, whispers of those turbulent days have floated through the corridors for years. Staff members who once spoke fondly of Meghan's arrival now recall feeling anxious and overworked. The enthusiasm that surrounded the royal wedding quickly turned into unease. The talk of compassion and mental health awareness that the Duchess often shared publicly didn't match the environment some insiders described. The royal household never confirmed these details, but the silence once again said enough. Piers Morgan accuses Harry and Meghan of hypocrisy, claiming they preach values they don't practice. Royal commentator Brittany from the Royal News Network agrees, saying the couple's fame depends almost entirely on their connection to the monarchy.
So we then have to follow up. This is the key.
Without royal secrets to tell, their star power fades. The brand that once fascinated global audiences has become less about inspiration and more about controversy. According to Brittany, that strategy might bring short-term attention, but long-term collapse. Prince Harry's loneliness becomes painfully clear. Once inseparable from cousins Beatrice and Eugenie, the Duke of Sussex now finds himself completely isolated. King Charles avoids calls altogether, reportedly advised by Queen Camilla to protect his own health and peace of mind. For a father managing personal health challenges, the absence of support from a son weighs heavily. Behind the formality of the crown lies the same heartbreak found in any family torn apart by misunderstanding. Yet this royal silence didn't appear overnight. The seeds were planted years ago, during the infamous Oprah interview that unveiled private family matters to millions.
A deep sense of gratitude for the more than 70 years.
Then came the Netflix documentary, which dissected royal life in vivid detail. Finally, Harry's memoir Spare shattered what remained of the bridge between father and son. Each new project widened the divide. Every page, every interview, every clip felt like another blow to royal tradition. Inside the monarchy, this wasn't seen as courage, it was betrayal. The monarchy has always survived through silence. In the royal world, restraint is power. For centuries, kings and queens have protected the institution by saying less, not more. So when King Charles chooses not to speak to Harry, it's not just emotion, it's strategy. Every public word can be weaponized. Every conversation risks becoming a headline. Silence becomes the only shield left. By cutting contact, Charles sends a message to the entire royal circle. Loyalty is absolute. Discretion is survival. Any breach of trust threatens not just relationships, but the stability of the crown itself. For a monarch who waited decades to sit on the throne, reputation means everything. A single scandal can shake centuries of legacy. To protect the institution, even a father must sometimes act like a king first. Across the Atlantic, Meghan faces an entirely different kind of challenge. In California, cameras prepare to capture her latest venture, a Netflix lifestyle series called With Love, Meghan. The show aims to showcase cooking, friendship, and inspiration. But the timing couldn't be worse. Wildfires devastate communities across the state, leaving thousands displaced. The image of a duchess in a mansion kitchen surrounded by luxury clashes sharply with the suffering outside. Critics call the project tone-deaf and out of touch. Even loyal supporters begin to question whether Meghan understands the audience she's trying to reach.
The trouble is, if we don't, this is the awful thing, if we don't...
Royal reporter Brittany predicts the show will struggle not because of poor production, but because of its lack of sincerity. Audiences crave authenticity, not aspiration. Meghan's polished presentation, once her greatest strength, now works against her. In a world flooded with reality content, viewers want something genuine, something that feels human. Meghan's authenticity has been under scrutiny for years. Videos from her early career resurface online, showing a more natural and relaxed personality compared to the carefully refined tone she later adopted. Fans debate whether the changes are conscious adjustments or simple growth. Yet the conversation always circles back to trust. Authenticity is what connects public figures to audiences. Without it, even the most glamorous image feels hollow. While the Sussexes face criticism abroad, Princess Catherine shines quietly at home. After a period of personal challenges, Catherine returns to public duty, reminding the world why the monarchy still matters. At a Holocaust commemoration, she meets survivors with warmth and dignity. Photographs capture genuine connection and grace, qualities that speak louder than any speech. At the same event, King Charles stands alongside European leaders, marking history as the first British monarch to visit Auschwitz. The visit symbolizes remembrance, unity, and empathy. In those solemn moments, Charles demonstrates leadership through compassion. The contrast is striking. On one side, duty and silence. On the other, exposure and controversy. The image of a grieving father standing at a memorial carries more power than any documentary ever could. In the age of social media, perception shapes reality. Every gesture, every expression, every silence becomes part of a public narrative. Piers Morgan often acts as the voice of what palace officials cannot say directly.
Alongside the personal grief that all my family are feeling.
When Piers announces that the royals have completely cut off Harry and Meghan, insiders recognize it as deliberate messaging. In royal communication, nothing happens by coincidence. The timing, tone, and platform are all part of a carefully managed strategy. Years earlier, King Charles walked Meghan down the aisle, offering a public display of unity and warmth. That single act represented acceptance. Now that same gesture feels like a ghost of what could have been. Every tell-all interview, every podcast, every documentary chipped away at that symbolic bond. The bridge connecting Windsor to California didn't collapse overnight. It crumbled piece by piece until only distance remained. Outside the royal spotlight, Harry and Meghan's career challenges grow. The Spotify deal ends abruptly. The podcast that once promised intimate storytelling loses traction. Netflix, once their strongest partner, reportedly demands more substance and less self-promotion. Piers Morgan's sharp commentary calls the couple dependent on royal scandal for survival. Without royal stories to sell, the projects lose direction. Freedom was once the dream, a life without duty or control. Yet, freedom without a purpose becomes a different kind of trap. The Sussexes now stand at a crossroads. Reinvention requires humility, and humility is difficult when the world expects grandeur. Behind every royal decision lies emotion that rarely reaches the surface. Prince Harry experiences loss, not of wealth or title, but of belonging. King Charles experiences disappointment, not of power, but of connection. Meghan faces isolation, not from the public, but from acceptance. The true sadness is that every conflict could have been avoided. Opportunities for healing were replaced by interviews, memoirs, and public battles.
Which is a total tragedy because we've lost all those years in between, so
This story raises questions that go beyond monarchy. Can a family built on tradition survive in an age of transparency? Can fame coexist with privacy? Can a father protect both a crown and a son at the same time? Every answer leads to another dilemma. Perhaps this royal saga reflects the universal struggle between pride and forgiveness, between control and compassion. Piers Morgan's statements may sound harsh, but they reveal the cost of royal life in the modern world. King Charles chooses silence to preserve the institution. Prince Harry continues to seek independence, even when that independence isolates him. Meghan fights to define identity amid constant comparison and criticism. The palace remains poised and unshaken, while the Sussexes battle perception from afar. In truth, there are no villains here, only choices. Silence has become armor for one side, exposure has become survival for the other. Between them lies a gulf filled with years of love, resentment, and misunderstanding. 5 simple words now define the state of the royal family. No contact ever again. Those words carry centuries of history and heartbreak. For the monarchy, silence restores stability. For the family, it deepens the wound. Maybe time will soften the edges. Maybe distance will bring clarity. Or maybe this divide will stand as one of the monarchy's most tragic chapters. For now, both sides remain where they are. One bound by tradition, the other bound by defiance. And as the world watches from afar, one question lingers in every viewer's mind. If silence protects peace but costs connection, which path truly defines strength? The crown that endures or the heart that forgives?